We got
you didn't shit on your belly though, did you?
no, we got a bidet though. So welcome to $2 Steak, a pro wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Varnum. Joining me today, as always, Tolbert.
Holla.
Cookie.
MDK all day. MDK all day. Oh, my bad. Excuse me.
And
Hello,
then
everyone.
I'm going to have to add this in later, but Mike is on this episode, but currently he is not here right now. So we're not going to be able to have him say his usual intro or talk about his stuff. Boys, how was your week? We took a week off. Last week was a little bit tough to kind of get things together, and I wanted to have a very sufficient analysis of Nick Gage, who we will be talking about today. Tolbert, let's start off with you. What's going on? Any big news in your life? Any plans?
Any plans? Are you talking about what we just talked about?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk, I mean, you can mention it if you want, but any other things happening this week?
No, not really. Been working a lot this week. You know, it's we're getting into those springtime motions, you know, so I've been trying to get some housework done, get some spring cleaning, you know, planning and making those lists for the spring projects, all while taking care of this baby.
How's the baby doing?
Getting big. She is fat and happy. I can't complain, man. I really can't. I've seen some of my other friends raise kids. I'm like, my baby better not act like that. So luckily, she's super chill, man. We took her out for the first time this week. We had a beautiful breakfast at Seabird in downtown Wilmington, North Carolina. This is a fancy restaurant where they do like a counter walk-up breakfast service. It was very nice and, you know, quiet vibes, you know, really good food. But we fed her, got her nice and happy, took her out for the first time, super chill, loved it. Took the baby to her first rugby game as well yesterday too. She seemed like that as well. She wasn't too excited about the game because she fell asleep, but probably because y'all were losing, playing terrible.
But we weren't, though. It was such a close game throughout the whole thing. It was back and forth, a very hard-fought game. I did not break my nose. Nothing bad happened to me in the field. Thank God.
You looked generally excited to be out there yesterday, Barnum.
I felt great during the whole game. I made some great tackles, some great runs.
Rocking a new uniform.
We've got brand new duds. Our whole new kit is beautiful.
No one's belly's hanging out over the bottom of the shirt. No one. You know, usually in the past, we've had these kits that we've had for a very long time. And when you suit up for a game, everyone just looks like a stuffed blood sausage.
Yes. You feel like one, too. Like one that's been microwaved for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like right before it does the thing where it pops open.
Yeah. So everyone looked nice and svelte yesterday. You know,
there's one really good picture where your mouth is open and you're running towards the ball.
Yes.
What were you saying in that moment, Aaron?
He was like, "Hit me!"
No. So that's Grant. He's one of our new guys, right? And so our rugby offense is a 1-3-3-1. The ones in that are both forwards on the outside. So it's bigger guys. They're there to help maintain possession if the smaller guys on the outside get the ball. And so my position, I'm one of those ones. And this guy is Grant. He's new. He's very quick. He's a skillful guy. He was running up the sideline. He intercepted a pass from the other team. And I'm yelling, "Stay in bounds! Stay in bounds! I've got you. Go down. I will ruck you." He did not stay in bounds.
I was going to say, did he stay in bounds?
I tried to, I was there. I was pushing guys out of the way. It was like the scene in Old School where he's got the shot and I'm like pushing heads out of the way, trying to get to this guy. I was ready to ruck him. And all of a sudden some guy came in, speared him and got him outside. So I was like, well, yeah, Sorry, bud. You should have gone down when I told you.
Oh man.
So that was our rugby game yesterday. It was tough, man. We lost by 1 point in the last minute of the game. Just a very tough game.
But very victorious for their team because it was their first win for the season because they're not that good. But apparently they showed up yesterday.
They showed up yesterday. It was their first time they beat us in 7 years, I think.
Yeah, as long as I've been with the rugby club, they've never beaten us.
And, I've never seen an L to Fort Bragg.
Cookie, it's Fayetteville rugby now.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize.
Fayetteville rugby, which doesn't make it. Yeah, it makes it worse.
It's the Fayetteville area Dragons. Are there any Dragons in Fayetteville?
Not that I've seen. Maybe once, but I was under the influence.
I think some people face the dragon somewhere.
Now, Tolbert, I would think that with all the influence that you were under in Fayetteville, you would have seen dragons.
No. Saw lots of other things, but no dragons.
Well, so other than that, we this week, Tolbert, you have mentioned that you do have a new Korean barbecue grill at the house. What does that mean? That little thing, you want us to come over and try some Korean barbecue with charcoal? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, man. High intensity, high heat burning Japanese charcoal, baby. Yeah, man. I'm gonna have y'all over for Korean barbecue night. We're gonna do some short ribs, some yakitori, some maybe some grilled mullet. We'll see. We'll see what the night brings. But I'm inviting Aaron and Jasmine over. Anybody who wants to come over, really. So I can practice on you guys because I'm going to start a grilling empire in Wilmington, North Carolina eventually. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But right now, I'm going to be practicing. I'm going to turn my house into an izakaya, if you will. It's going to be like, what's the Japanese steakhouse that serves a Yokozuna?
Oh God! Now that you
now I put you on the spot,
that you put me on the spot, I've got Ribera. It's a Ribera steakhouse.
Yeah. I'm pretty much going to turn my house into that. I might even take off to Japan and apprentice for a few years. Who knows?
And I'm fine with that. Just send me back. Go to that wrestling memorabilia store in Tokyo.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with just having some people over. But yeah, I'm very excited about this. So
hey, if you make enough money, all right. So if this becomes successful, we're gonna put this down in audio right now. So this, it's legally binding.
Yeah.
Facts.
After you make your first 100,000, right, you have to go to Japan and go to that wrestling memorabilia store and buy, because they've got everything there.
Everything. Oh, I watch YouTube videos on it all the time.
You have to buy the actual branding iron that Terry Funk had and use that as a part of your decorations at your business.
Of course, it would be good. But Varnum actually, texted me that he might, I don't know if this is true or not, he might be thinking about a bachelor party in the future. It's still uncertain. I don't know if Jasmine's going to say yes or we'll continue to have him. But he mentioned something, I automatically go, hey man, let's have your bachelor party in Japan.
And I said,
I was like,
God.
No.
I said, no, we are not going to Japan.
God.
Spend more on plane tickets on your bachelor party than the actual wedding, probably.
Yes, 100%.
If it was in Japan, it would be a movie, though. That's all I'm saying. We'd be taking pictures with Minoru Suzuki. And
oh, yeah, dude. I was going to book wrestling events. We were going to go eat steak. We were going to go look at memorabilia.
I would end up coming back with a black eye because we went to Minoru Suzuki's shop and I said, can you just hit me once, with your elbow, just once?
God.
Can you take us fishing?
Yes. Yeah, we go. It's one of those those memes. What started and this is how it ended. We started with me taking the elbow, and then how it ended is me with a big bass with Minoru. All right, Cookie, how was your week? You said you got a story. I know you watched the UFC pay-per-view last night and you were not as impressed. It was not a good pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I was falling asleep during the main event, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. Let's backtrack a little bit. Last time I talked to everybody, there was a full-on race war at school.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about it. Has that been resolved?
Yeah, that is slowly being resolved. We are, in talks with the professors about making it a more, inclusive environment and stuff like that, and explaining where, like, our point of view and stuff like that, basically. But like I said, we're still trying to figure this out. So full-blown race war is still kind of simmering. It's simmering right now.
It's a cold race war.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. But to go off of the race thing, last night we went to a bar, Chase and I. We went to a bar to watch the UFC fights. And like you were saying, they were pretty boring. Up until the very last fight, you had Mr. Colby Covington, Mr. Right. MAGA himself, against Jorge Masvidal. And across from us were 4 guys that were huge MAGA Colby Covington fans.
Okay.
And they were outspoken about this, right? So throughout the fight, all you hear is just MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. Let's go, Kobe. Let's go, Kobe. All this shit. All this bullshit, right? And people are getting annoyed by it. And at the end of the fight, Jorge ends up taking the L or whatever. But the guys keep mouthing off. And surprisingly, Chase is the one that almost gets into a fucking fight with one of these guys, right? I see Chase go and grab a knife and 4 pins.
What?
Yes, ready, just in case something happens.
Like a dinner knife?
Like I don't know what kind of knife it was.
Like a butter knife?
It may have been a butter knife. Whatever.
Who is he, Nick Gage?
Dude, he was ready. He was ready.
I don't know if that sounds ready or not. It sounds like
stab him with like one of these, like a Bic.
Yeah, it was actually a blue pin, just like that. Yes,
it sounds like some of these guys in America that are like, man, our country ain't doing anything in the Ukraine. I'm going over.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were putting themselves over last night, man. They needed that. They needed that win for themselves. They smelled like skull and bad habits. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those nasty nights where everyone was fucked up and. They got their win, so they were outspoken about it. And I was trying to hold Chase back the entire time for
I have to say, I would like to see Chase stab somebody with a big pin. That would be.
We shit on Chase a lot, but he got my respect last night for having my back. It could have gotten really ugly, but, fortunately it did not. Funny enough, the guy that was sitting in front of us trained with Colby Covington.
Oh, shit.
Very anti-Colby. Like, he doesn't fuck with the gimmick or anything like that. And he had our backs as well. Because
all that is a gimmick.
Yes.
We do know that, right? It is just a gimmick. It's a way for him to sell tickets. He's just a heel. And, people don't realize that in UFC, you got to sell tickets. You got to sell a story. And that's the way you do it in UFC. So it's the same thing
it's always
as professional
wrestling, UFC. You got to sell the story.
I mean, Jake Paul does the same thing.
Exactly. Colby just takes it to another level, and he just, he does what he does, man. But other than that, I had a very great evening because guess what? The Tar Heels beat Duke. Coach K's very last home game at Cameron Indoor. Made him go home with that L, made him cry a little bit. I love to see it, man. Shout out to the Tar Heels.
Hey, Cook, I thought it'd be hilarious if you went to the bathroom and came back out and Chase just had one of the guys with a pizza cutter.
That would have been great.
Missed opportunity.
Yes. Next time. Don't worry. We'll bring the pizza cutter.
Yeah, I did see a lot of UNC fans and a lot of Duke fans duking it out on social media yesterday. It was I didn't get to see the game because apparently it went on during our rugby match or like around the time that we were kind of finishing up at the rugby match. But when I got home, I saw all the people yelling about it on social media because we live in North Carolina and that is the biggest rivalry in North Carolina. Yeah. Well, there were some Duke fans in Colorado as well. Which is it's like me being like I can't even like I don't get it. Yeah. Anyways,
it's very weird.
All right, so I said that we were going to splice in Mike. Mike, how was your week? Tell me about your week. What went on?
My week has actually been kind of just mundane. I did have to work last Sunday.
That's one of the reasons why we took off last week.
Yeah. So Sundays at the hospital can be either fairly light, leave early, have a good afternoon, or they can be hell. And mine leaned more towards hell.
Oh.
I was just super busy. Nothing like too fun or exciting, just a lot of volume, and you're the only therapist there. So I was actually kind of glad we didn't record because I would have just been running
stressed.
Yeah, exactly. Because I told you I might be able to do 3. I didn't leave the hospital till 4.
Yeah, I figured that we were pushing it last week, and last week we had told Jasmine's best friend that we were going to go eat like Korean barbecue at her house and have like a little thing there. And so we had a tight deadline, and I had to cut bait. I was like, it's time to go.
Bail out, yeah. No, it's cool. I'm glad we're back. I did get to dabble into the $2 Bake Studios in the kitchen this weekend.
Okay, so we're bringing that back?
Yeah. I will tweet out a finished photo. I tweeted a picture of the dough as it was resting and rising, and mentioned that it would be back. And I will tweet out the finished 2 beautiful overnight white loaves that were actually pretty darn good.
Now, why didn't you bring any tonight to watch the pay-per-view?
Because I ate it all.
Okay.
Well, we ate a whole loaf ourselves. I did drop off 3/4 of a loaf to Nick and Allie.
Gotcha.
One day.
Now, do you use a starter for this?
No. So the whole idea behind this loaf is just a longer fermentation process. So you don't need a starter, but it does take about 12 hours. Now my temperatures were a little too warm, so it rested a little too long because I did go golf the other day, and I got home and baked it. First loaf, came up real nice, rose real nice. The second one didn't rise as much because it had over rested and overproofed and kind of settled down on itself, lost a little bit of its gas, but it's all good. It's a growing process.
Well, it's a scientific endeavor is what you're going into.
Exactly.
We talked a little bit about the game and how it was kind of like a heartbreaking one.
Yes, first time I've ever lost to Fort Bragg.
That's what everybody else was saying.
It's also their first win of the season, which is pretty fucking disappointing too.
That was everything else that we were saying. Hey, when we were talking about the charge down, what exactly? It's just a block kick, right?
Yeah. So there is no knock during a charge down, so you can jump up in the air and block a kick. I mean, you don't even have to jump up the air. It's to stop. It's kind of like to stop that. Did you ever play street basketball and somebody inbounds it off your legs and you're just like, that's kind of dickish.
Yeah.
It's to stop that sort of stuff because otherwise people would just be blasting it in your face. They call a knock, or then you get advantage and you could just march down the field.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Pretty disappointing loss though.
I feel that it was a heartbreaker.
It sucked the wind out of the day. It was a beautiful day. I love going to fly trap, especially when it's sunny. And we got oysters on the grill. We're smoking hams. It was, it was a great day. And
we had such hope in in times. We're like, oh my God, we're ahead. Then we're behind. We're ahead. Then we're behind.
We shot ourselves in the collective foot a lot.
Yes, we did.
And it's frustrating because rarely do I say this, but I actually thought I had a really good game of just
I felt like I did too.
Solid play. So hey, it is what it is. It's team sport. We'll move on. We will take the field in 3 weeks again at Fly Trap Downs and take on Tobacco Road.
I was going to say there was one thing I was going to bring up. So Kevin, Kentucky Kevin.
Yeah.
Double K.
Yeah. The Unabomber.
The Unabomber. Yeah. So he, in about 3 weeks, is going to start on the Appalachian Trail.
Nice. That's awesome.
So he's going to do an Appalachian Trail hike.
Like the whole thing?
It sounds like
so fucking jealous.
That's insane, right?
That's one of my bucket list things I want to do.
So, what are some tips that we think us being Eagle Scouts? What are some tips that we can give him about remaining sane and being able to go about this hike? What are some of the things that we learned?
One is definitely good footwear. Keep your feet dry.
Footwear.
Clean, dry socks.
Gold Bond medicated powder. If he can carry that in his sack.
Try to plan out ahead of time your post office stops, and that way people can ship things to you.
And I'm sure he's a lot better at it than we are. right now because he's taking the plunge.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And then high calorie things, full fat, full sugars, all that sort of stuff.
I'm very interested to hear. He's got a website. He sent me a website that kind of is going to be tracking his movements throughout the thing. He says, if you guys want to follow me, I just made griffunlimited.com. Going to have a Garmin tracker and everything. It's going to kind of
awesome.
show you where he is along the trail.
Yeah, props to him, man. That is one of my things. Like, I would love to do that one day, but I mean, it is a massive time investment. And hey, man, make sure Kevin, when you're getting your Rangeley, Maine, you walk down that road and you get over to the IGA, you go to the post office, and enjoy Rangeley for a day, maybe.
And also, I mean, you're going to have your cell phone with you, and you're going to have a lot of time to think. You should have held off on the hundreds of hours of content that we have until what you're about to do now.
But I think he burned through it all, right?
Yeah, it's his fault. That's all his fault.
And it's like only 25% of it's good.
I know. I would have killed myself like on the first leg. Like if I have to listen to this shit.
I don't even listen to this thing anymore.
What in the world? All right, Mike, for the first matchup of the evening, this is going to be so Mike, I was telling the other guys that not everything's a death match with Nick Gage. Apparently he is a worker, if you can call it that. But I wanted to have a little bit of blood in this week's episode since it is a Nick Gage episode. And I could have gone the easy way out. I could have given it to Tolbert because Tolbert likes the violence. I could have given it to Cookie because it's the strong style is what his thing. But I said Mike deserves to watch this and know. And I also want to get some medical perspective from this matchup. Mike, you have got Nick Gage against Schlak.
Correct. Schlak coming in at what I would estimate is 5'10" and like 265, 270 pounds of just stacked muscle, most likely not natural.
He looks like if Brian Cage had a set of testicles.
He looks like one of those strongman competitors, but just not as tall. And he's got a face tattoo, so he fits the. If I said there was a wrestler named Schlak, this is probably what I would expect. He's got the shaved kind of, what would you call that? Mohawk. Yeah, Mohawk. And a face tattoo. He just looks like he's ready to go. This is a GCW heavyweight title match.
Correct.
It is prison rules. Is that?
Yeah, sure. Whatever prison rules means.
Match rules. I think it was just so they could do the opening spot. Nick Gage comes out with, was that Dewey Donovan? Yeah,
Dewey Donovan comes out in that putrid green jacket.
Very big juxtaposition there.
Yeah, he's kind of goofy.
Goofy, lawyery type.
Which is the exact opposite of, looks like somebody that you would see in a trauma film, like the Toxic Avenger. But then you see his protege, who is Nick Gage, and it's completely different.
Yeah, and I apologize. Normally, I go ahead and give you the idea of when and where this took place. I'm going to call it parts unknown.
I think it's New Jersey.
Possibly a circus tent or Greek Orthodox Church. A lot of colors.
That is actually Cookie's match. Cookie's match took place in that Ohio St.
Ignatius or
whatever.
Ed's or whatever. Yeah. That's funny.
I think this takes place in Atlantic City.
Okay, and this is full-toothed Nick Cage.
Well, we'll like the. I think it was relatively recent.
He has his teeth though.
But they're probably fillers,
I don't think you wrestle in those. When you're doing a death match, you don't want to have fillers in there.
I get it.
One of those things pops loose, goes down your throat, and then you're not so worried about the blood and the glass, and you're more worried about the fucking tooth down. Anyway, starts off the both participants make an attempt to toss the referee out of the ring.
Right.
Unsure why that happened. I believe this is no holds barred. So I guess you don't need the referee, or I guess you don't want the referee. But prior to the bell starting, we do get Nick Gage shanking Schlak in the sides with a shank. We don't get to actually see the object, but one would assume it is probably a handmade shiv that he did bring with him from his excursion in prison.
That's right.
Likely,
or he could have made it there.
Likely had to smuggle it out
in his beehole.
In his keister. So he keister stashed it, brought it back. If he knows anything about medicine, he did not clean it. That way you get the hepatitis on the blade.
It's more of a septic weapon.
Exactly.
At that point.
Yeah. I mean, he's going for the kidneys, right? So, hey, Schlak, clearly not the first time he's been in prison either.
That's right.
He had the phone books taped to his sides to protect him.
Which I actually laughed at that.
Hey, man, if you're going to get in the ring with Nick Gage, and then bell does ring. We then get into the violence that is this match. Typically, you're going to have, in a normal worked match, you're going to have a little build-up before you get to some craziness. Not this one. We get a pane of glass within the first 15 seconds. Shatters, glass all over the ring. In the other corner, there is a door with what looks like kick stoppers or some kind of diamond plate.
So those are
carpet tacks or something. I don't even fucking know.
Yeah. So I've seen them before. They're like beds of. It's just nails.
And anyway, no rhyme or reason. Just goes ahead and gets started. We get light tubes. We get all this sort of stuff. And mind you that we do have nasally ass Joey Janela on the.
That's right.
Commentary.
Joey, I forgot. Yeah, Joey's on the commentary.
I hate his voice.
He's got a terrible voice.
His voice is not made for radio or color commentary.
Correct.
And then it just devolves for about the next 12 minutes in just random
acts of violence
between chairs and glass and the tape tubes, and sometimes they're taped in a triangle, sometimes they're taped in a rectangle. You can have 3, 4, 6, 8. I mean, those tubes are not cheap.
I want to know what's going through the minds of the fans that are actually in there. Like, they're breathing
the amount of PPE that is not involved in this front row seating really does bother me, because there's glass the entire time. There's glass flying everywhere.
It could go in your eyes.
There's literally a setup where they like move people out of their chairs, put a glass pane on. I just watched it on chairs, and like shatters and it goes everywhere. And they said on the commentary, Joey says that he got hit by something, and he's like, in bum F nowhere. Yeah, and it's, again, these are like light tubes. You're not supposed to breathe that shit in anyway. Glass everywhere, blood everywhere. Nobody's wearing goggles. Everybody's in shorts.
The goggles do nothing.
Because they're all fat. It just doesn't do useless violence.
So the way that I was thinking about this, and Mike, when it comes to the fans of professional wrestling death matches, you take a look at them, and they're all gas, no brakes, right? They're fans of shit just building upon itself, starting off 100 miles per hour. Do you think that there's a lot of meth in that audience?
Not so much meth, but I feel like
crank.
There's one, a lot of neck beards.
Yeah.
2, a lot of or calorie dense, non-healthy food that is intake by these people. Not a lot of education.
Right. Poor education.
If I was stereotyping, there is one college degree in this entire room, and it's an associate's degree.
No, I could see that. Yeah. Maybe 2.
Yeah,
maybe 2.
It's probably the referee, honestly. And it really, again, this isn't my style or my cup of tea. I do not mind violence. I do not mind blood. You got grossed out by the Cody Dustin match.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is fucking great.
Yeah.
Because it mattered and it meant something. There was a build-up to it, and that you had this storyline. This is literally just 2 guys just being fucking gross. And, like, literally, when I say there's glass, the entire square footage of this ring by the end is covered in broken glass. Every time these guys get up, they are shimmering from sweat, blood, and glass. We get the classic Nick Gage pizza cutter, We also get Nick Gage with a hypodermic needle at some point trying to stab Schlak, which, again, I don't think he's afraid of needles because he is pretty fucking stacked.
Yes. Yeah.
But he also doesn't present himself as a man of fitness, particularly cardiorespiratory fitness, because he is fucking blown up about halfway through this thing.
Yeah, and I don't understand. I mean,
again, they're not wrestling, so
they're not wrestling.
I don't understand why he's so fucking tired either. We do get at some point in the match, we do get like a suplex off of the corner into that pane of glass that's stacked up on the chairs that I mentioned earlier. And then the only other wrestling move in the entire match, two wrestling moves. We'd get 2 pile drivers from Nick Gage
at the end
of Schlak into the glass and blood and
everything
infested thing that is the ring, and then we get a DDT.
That's it.
I will say I respect Nick Gage for using the DDT. I think the DDT should continue to be a finishing move. I hate when guys
just use it as a transitory.
Without the commentary team being like, oh, he didn't get all of that, or whatever. I mean.
Right.
Yeah, Nick Gage wins. I don't think anybody wins though.
We all lose for having to sit.
It's like I don't know how to describe it. Like the fans of this kind of stuff, so like you see a match, you're like, okay, that was awesome. I want more, and then they give you more, and then they give you more, and eventually, like at one point, are you satiated by the violence? And like again, it's not. I would say I've seen more violence in a Daniel Bryan Minoru Suzuki match,
correct,
that did not really involve any blood, than I saw in this match. This was just 2 out of shape individuals cutting each other with inanimate objects.
Yeah, right. Utensils, kitchen utensils, and yeah,
it's not wrestling to me. I wasn't impressed by it. I was probably more impressed by the Nick Gage Chris Jericho match because again, and you said Nick Gage can actually work a little bit.
A little bit, and when I say a little bit, I mean just a little bit.
But a little bit is more than what we got in this. This again was just kind of senseless theater, I guess I would call it.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
But you know what? If you're a neckbeard and you hate your job and you hate your life and you hate everything and you hate showers and you just want to go to a fucking carnival tent and watch
you're starting
these guys.
To describe my life currently, other than Jasmine.
Yeah, it's just.
I guess I will be starting to dive deep into neckbeardom. I got my Elden Ring. I got. I'm going to be.
You got to subscribe to the incel subreddit.
Well, I'm not an incel anymore.
I know, but I'm saying these guys are. I didn't see a single female in that crowd.
I did, and she was attractive. There was one attractive lady in there, and then there was also Nick Gage's wife or fiance or whatever.
Did you catch the one guy? It felt like there was a spotlight on him, but I think it's because everybody was wearing black, and he had like a nice baby blue shirt.
Yes,
but he weighed like 360 pounds, and he's like 50-yard line of the ring, but like up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for that guy because forever on the internet he will be just self-spotlighted because of the color choice of his shirt because everybody else is wearing black.
Correct.
Hey, but I will say props if it is your cup of tea. These guys, like these fans, fucking love it. I can see how Travis was infatuated and infected by the roar of the crowd.
One of those shards of glass, I think he inhaled it, and that just that little bit of glass while Travis. That made him an MDK guy during that.
It's like the COVID microchip. You just turn the switch and you just like, there you go.
And he became Nick Gage.
Yeah. So like, I mean, they fucking love it, man. And I will say, I mean, again, like if you're performing, whether you're participating in a team sport, an individual sport, or whatever like that, when you hear the crowd start roaring, like
you get hyped.
That should drive you to do the next, do the things better and more effective and more efficient. And just like put on a better show. And I guess that's what happened. I guess that's what happens. I mean, maybe he feels no pain, and that's why he's okay with a broken light tube getting smashed into his forehead while he bleeds.
Yeah. I don't like the broken light tube. I don't like a lot of it. And I watched it this morning, and I was yeah. It's not a great thing to wake up and start your day with.
It's something. Is Byron one of these guys?
Byron, he appreciates it from afar. he's not full in.
Yeah, I would maybe watch this through a window. I would want a full HVAC system and sturdy sheets of glass and brick to keep me away from these people.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I had a really good friend go to a show in Charlotte, a deathmatch show in Charlotte, and his complaint was that Necro Butcher, who may or may not have hepatitis, Necro Butcher bled everywhere, and blood on these wrestlers who do not get tested all that often.
They probably don't get tested. They probably don't have health insurance.
Correct. And it was spraying everywhere, and he got it all over him, and he walks out, and he has blood from somebody he does not know all over his body.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking gross. Again, not my cup of tea. It's not wrestling. Yeah. Ugh. It's like these are the type of people that you like walk by in public and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like down at Riverfest when you're walking, like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
I agree. So we hopefully we will not have to have another Nick Gage match after this week's episode.
Correct. Hey, can we talk social media real fast?
Very quickly. Go ahead.
All right. So, hey, shout out to Aaron for making some Italian guys' top tweets of the week.
I'm kind of disappointed that I was not number one. I was number two on this Italian guy.
I didn't know what he was saying, but it was your tweet of the Simpsons Homer turning the light switch on and off.
Right. Fight.
And you know, parroting the AEW events of that Dynamite. So I think he does follow us now. So maybe we'll become, you know, we'll get on the tweets of the week again. I like how that neither one of us noticed until like 2 days later.
Yeah. So I noticed 2 days later, and I think I feel, is it racist or I tweeted back an Italian chef gif doing a chef's kiss?
Nah, that's not racist.
Okay.
It's white. You can't be
racist
to white people.
Right. But today we are talking about the one, the only MDK murder, death, kill, Nick effing Gage. What is there to say that Nick Gage is an interesting human being with maybe not the brightest bulb? And today we're going to talk about everything. And speaking of bulbs, we do have bulbs being used in at least one of the matches today.
I mean, you can't have a Nick Gage episode without light bulbs. But fun fact about Nick Gage, Farnham, he is 95% immune to the rabies and greatly reduces number of ticks in your backyard.
That's right.
Wait.
So
that's a possum. Excuse me. That's a possum.
That's right. So
Okay.
so with Nick Gage, like if he's cold, if you're cold, he's cold. Let him inside.
I heard that his mother raised him in a little pouch, and she carries him around until he's old enough to emerge. Yes.
Along with other other gauges, and he probably ate them while they were in the pouch. Anyways, let's talk about some wrestling. All right, Cookie, for the strong style, I had to give me an out, something that maybe we could look at for next week. Another wrestler that we could look at for next week. So I wanted because a lot of these guys that we have on today's episode are not. I'm not going to be able to find a lot of wrestling matches online, except for your guy and maybe Tolbert's mystery opponent. I'll see if we could find some stuff for Tolbert's mystery opponent. But Cookie, you have got Nick Gage against L.A. Park, a.k.a. La Parka.
There we go. Aaron, are you telling me that you don't think you'll be able to find matches for Schlak?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, yes, I have La Parka. This is Absolute Intense Wrestling. Did I read that correctly, Aaron? Absolute.
You did. And I believe it's in the place that we watched a match. It's in that weird cathedral gym in Ohio, in Cleveland, that we've talked about before.
Ah, okay. All right.
I think there was a Tracy Smothers match in this cathedral that we talked about.
This gymnasium is just exactly what you would imagine. Looks like a middle school Looks like a middle school gymnasium, a YMCA gym, if you will. Very tiny. Looks like it's hot. Probably smells terrible in there.
Yes, wrestling fans.
Yes. But we got representing the Eastern hate block of Murder, Death, Kill Game, Mr. Possum himself, Nick freaking Gage. And then coming to you, like I said, coming to you from your local high school gym, La Parca. This is an older La Parca. This is like 50-year-old La Parca.
Yeah, La Parca's put on some LBs.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. But let's go ahead and get to this countdown because I got some good stuff to talk about.
Cookies, top 4, number 1.
They don't get paid by the hour. So LA Park just comes out of nowhere, yeets a chair at Nick Gage's face like Terry Funk.
Like just shot puts it in Nick Gage's face.
Literally, as soon as the bell rings, just shot puts it. I was like, yes, this is what I want. And after that, Park doesn't even have a plan. He just scoops up Gage and just throws him into the first row. No MDK fans to catch him. Maybe they draw the line at touching Nick Gage.
That's right. And I believe right after he did that, La Parca was trying to like open up the railings, and he was having issues like trying those railings. You gotta like it's a very intricate process of like picking them up and like holding one side down. Those metal
they interlock, right? They
the metal interlocking things are kind of tough sometimes.
I think LA Park put the railings over. Honestly.
Yes. Yeah. The railings gave him more of a fight than Nick Gage does.
100%. But anyway, like I was saying, man, I don't think the fans like to touch Nick Gage, and I don't blame them because he looks sticky. That's just me. But, we'll go to the next one.
There's a sheen about him.
Number 2.
All right. Fast forward 8 minutes and 27 minutes into this match, and we have no blood. I have just now realized that every Nick Gage match isn't a death match.
Correct.
So at this point, I'm thinking Aaron Varnum really had to sift through some shit to find a Nick Gage 13-minute Broadway that was not a death match.
I actually like thinking about it. I don't think that Tolbert's has blood either.
It does not a drop.
It actually does not. There's only one match this week that has blood in it,
and there's a lot of blood in that one.
But since it has Nick Gage, does it automatically make it a death match? Is every match Nick Gage match a death match? But not every death match is a Nick Gage match.
That's right. There's some psychology behind that.
I like that. Listen, did you know that possums can fly short distances? Nick Gage has control of this match, and he hits a cross body to the outside. Let's be real, he barely hit his target.
Yes.
I just wanted y'all to know that possums can fly short distances.
That's right. They've got a little bit more extra skin under their it gives them like a little flap. They got a little bit of a glide.
Yeah, it's like a sugar glider. They can,
Yeah, right.
Little gliding motion.
Nick Gage would be a Booger sugar glider.
Facts. Booger sugar glider could be the name of this episode. I really hope it is. Booger sugar glider.
Just gliding through the hood.
Woo! Okay.
Number 3.
Oh, man. You want to see a real suicide dive, ladies and gentlemen? I want you to go back and watch my match because at 11 minutes and 20 seconds, still no blood, but LA Park, at probably 50-something years old, runs and jumps through those ropes head first at Nick Gage, and then he just hugs on him for a little while. He just hugs on to him for dear life.
Can I tell you that this version of La Parca has got a bigger gut than I'm used to? And he went through the ropes, and I was so scared that gut was going to get caught on that middle rope when he did that. And when he went through flying with the greatest of ease, I was so impressed by La Parca.
I was very nervous, to say the least.
When you don't have much to live for, those suicide dives get easier and easier. As you get
La
older.
Parca is a skeleton. He's already dead.
It's true. He's been dead for a long time, honestly.
A dancing skeleton.
I love it.
The
skeleton.
bones are their money.
The money are their bones.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Let's do number 4 first.
Number 4.
Nick Gage loses his cool at the end of the match. He starts yelling at the ref, "What the fuck?" Grabbing his shirt and stuff like that. LA Park takes advantage, hits Nick Gage with a low blow, then rolls him up. It's elementary from there. 1, 2, 3. That's the end of the match. So Nick Gage loses. LA Park goes over, and so does the railing.
Yeah. Pour one out for the railing in that one.
Yes.
I mean, that's what happens when you piss off the ref.
That's true.
That's the guy that is enforcing the rules. And when you piss off the ref, they're going to do that fast count on you.
100%. And I think Nick Gage, he should have known better. But maybe his Murder, Death, Kill Gang members should have helped him out or supported him a little bit more.
They didn't.
They did not. They weren't there. Anyway, let's go to our honorable mentions. The guy on the ringside camera almost doesn't clear that barricade. Aaron, did you notice that?
I did. Yeah.
There was a lot of instances where people almost just did not make it. So like LA Park almost didn't make it. This guy on the camera almost did not make it. We would have been one less camera in this gym, in this gymnasium. And
those cameras, they're not cheap. And yeah, I would have felt for that guy.
Yes. Side note, where do y'all think Nick Gage gets his in-ring gear from? Where does he get his gear? Walmart, Ross,
Fashion Bug.
Where Fashion what?
Fashion Bug.
Fashion Bug. That sounds about right. I was thinking Ross's or Marshall's.
Oh, it's very similar to Fashion Bug, just a little, maybe more high class.
True. Maybe Five Below. I don't know if they still
Five Below. Yeah, I could see that as well. Yeah.
I don't know. What was happening in the first row? Looked like LA Park was drawn at an MDK follower. Did Travis go to this match?
He did.
Yes.
There? Yeah. So Travis, that's by Travis. He was actually possessed by MDK, the spirit of MDK right there.
Yeah. I imagine that he sleepwalks at night and maybe he just goes to these shows, but he doesn't remember that he's there. He comes back smelling like regret and skull and a bunch of other stuff that Nick Gage does. Oh, Booger Sugar, all the
Booger Sugar.
All right, last one. Here's my high thought of the match. Nick Gage in my match looks like Abraham Lincoln's slow cousin, passed down like 5 generations. I want you to go back.
Leroy Lincoln.
Yes. I'm just saying, Travis, if you're listening to this, put a top hat on him in my match. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
It's like, what was the Simpsons thing? It's like there was a headline on the Simpsons, and it's like, man finds squirrel that looks like Abe Lincoln.
Yes. Oh man. But overall, this match was pretty solid. It was okay. I'll give it 3 cookies.
All right, 3 cookies from Cookie.
Yeah.
All right, for our final matchup of the evening, the high spot. Tolbert, you have got one Nick Gage against a mystery opponent. Tell me about it.
Well, it's a mystery opponent. What he lacks in stature, he makes up for in spirit.
And tenacity.
It is our old friend Hornswoggle. You know him. You love him. He's always been there, whether he's hiding under the ring or coming through the crowd, dressed as Sandman.
So, I mean, like, thinking about it, he does have, like, when he came out as Sandman at WrestleCade, and like this, he does have experience in this kind of like environment.
Yeah, and I guess he really wanted this match. He asked for this match. I don't know if everyone just needed a paycheck that night, but they made it happen. We were in where we're at, some sort of bar room with a weird balcony setup type deal, but your typical MDK kind of match for sure. The setting suits it well. But Nick Gage comes out. He doesn't look too happy to really be there at all. He looks kind of annoyed by it, but he generally kind of has that look on that scowl on his face always anyway. But Hornswoggle's ready to go. He sets up 2 chairs in the middle of the ring, grabs someone's beer, chugs it, sits down and says, "Come on, face to face, you and me in the center of the ring." And we know what's coming. We know the slap battle is coming, right? So
What did the commentator call it? It was like an Irish kiss contest or something.
Yeah, and she was like, "I'm sorry, I've been told that is racist," and
Irish
she apologizes. Kiss. Meanwhile, while the MDK fans are just saying things about midgets. So I think it balanced out. Fun fact, I think MDK fans are the only ones that are still openly using that word.
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
however,
Many others.
Hornswoggle's shirt did say something about wrestling midgets on it.
Yeah, for sure. Like the original wrestling midget.
Yeah.
Something of the sort. But Swoggle's there to party, man. And he gives Nick Gage the biggest little forearm he could possibly give him. Nick Gage responds by slapping him out of his seat.
That's right. Yes.
And that's how this match starts. Swoggle does get over on him a little bit, gets a chair shot, and pulls some evasive maneuvers. But by that point, Gage is good and pissed off and just starts slamming him around. I think he gives him a couple tombstones or pile drivers, throws him outside the ring a little bit. At one point, he's just bashing him with a chair. And we get this back and forth a little while. Swoggle does, try some outside the ring maneuvers, like jumping off the little balcony area. But Gage is wise to this and ends up ultimately pinning him with the brutal, like 1 foot on the chest pin. And automatically
the ultimate F you in.
Yeah, that fuck you. Like, calls for the mic, of course.
This may be my favorite part about the whole thing.
Yeah. He calls for the mic and he's just like, yo, MDK all day, does the thing with his fans and just talks about pretty much shits on Hornswoggle at this point. He was like, I didn't want to do this. He essentially tells everybody he didn't want to do this.
He says, I didn't want to wrestle this joke or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he says, but then I thought back that I almost killed David Arquette.
Yes.
And he says, I almost killed David Arquette. So I took this match anyway. I'm like, what are you doing?
He says, I almost killed David Arquette, but I decided like I'm here to hurt people. And I was going to give this man the chance to hurt him. And I hurt this man. But I was like, yeah, you probably could have let off different, man. But Swoggle responds by grabbing the mic and saying, fucking thank you for letting me work tonight, essentially. Like, thank you for letting me grace the ring with your presence. I still got this. And he says to all the internet trolls out there, I can still do this. He says all the internet marks. He's like, fuck all you internet marks. Hornswoggle can still do it. But I imagine they shared a blunt of some sort afterwards.
It was a very heartwarming ending.
Yeah. But no blood. I thought I was about to see Hornswoggle just get busted open for a second.
You did not. I'm telling you, only one of the matches this week had to be a death match because I can't sit through 3 death matches.
Yeah, it's tough. It gets bloody.
Yeah. Tolbert, hit me with a HighKu.
Swoggle gets his chance. MDK gets fun sized. Nick Gage hurt that man.
All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode. Would you guys rather do a La Parka episode or a Hornswoggle episode next week?
I feel like, yeah, I think La Parka is probably the best bet.
Yeah. I mean, how many times can we just watch Hornswoggle sneak in, cause some mischief, and run away?
Yeah. So, we will be doing a La Parka episode next week.
Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Thank you for listening to $2 Steak, a pro wrestling podcast.
Should do a necro butcher.
We're not doing anything involving that.
God, dude.